There will likely be many times in your lives where you need to ask for a letter of recommendation. This can include asking for a letter for your application to graduate school, or even once you're in graduate school or in a career, you will probably request letters for grants or fellowship applications, or even promotions. The main point is that you will probably have to ask for many letters of recommendation in the future. So, to start, you want to choose people who know you best. When asking someone for a letter, if you can, ask in person. Though, in the current pandemic, that would be unsafe. Instead, send a well-worded email where you explain the purpose of the recommendation and why you have chosen that person to write a letter on your behalf. Make sure to ask far in advance. To get the best possible letter, provide copies of your application material and information about the position. Provide information about yourself too. For example, if you're asking your favorite professor from a class you took, share past assignments where you excelled. You can also share your CV, transcript, and even your personal statement. Essentially, the more information you provide, the better the letter can be. Be sure to give clear submission instructions and deadlines. After the recommendation is submitted, make sure to send a thank you note or email to show your appreciation. If you are admitted to the program or receive a grant or fellowship and the recommendation was part of what you submitted, update your recommenders on your progress and success. In general, people like to feel appreciated and know that they helped others succeed. Now, when asking for recommendations, don't assume that the professor is willing to write one. If they deny your request, it may be that they feel like they don't know you well enough, or they just don't have enough time. Also, avoid harassing professors for letters of recommendation or asking at a bad time. So, it is good to be familiar with the format of letters of recommendation for multiple reasons. For example, occasionally, someone will be willing to send a letter of recommendation on your behalf, but you will have to write the first draft. Additionally, knowing the structure of these letters can help you to provide more relevant information to your recommenders, and honestly, it is likely that you will have to write letters in the future. Recommendation letters should contain a letterhead, an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. In the top left corner of the first page, you should include the date, your full name, title, school name, street address, and contact information. I personally would use my office address and avoid using my home address. In the first sentence, you indicate for whom you are writing the letter and for what position. For example, it is my pleasure to recommend insert name here for admission to the STARS program. Next, introduce yourself. Who are you? How long have you known the person you are recommending? And in what capacity do you know this person? For example, for the past 2 years, I have been insert name here's research advisor. Next, the meat of the recommendation is the body paragraphs. The body paragraphs include traits and qualifications with evidence. How is the person a good student? Did this student go above and beyond expectations on assignments, contribute to the class conversations, etc.? Essentially, show, don't just tell. The body paragraphs may include comparisons to other students. For example, in a class of 25 students, insert name here consistently earned the highest grade on exams. If the recommendation is for someone who worked in a lab or was part of a research project, a recommendation would likely discuss the contributions the person has made and why their work was important. You want to conclude by giving your level of recommendation. For example, you may say, to conclude, I give my highest level of recommendation that insert name here is admitted to the STARS program. As common courtesy, you may also write, please don't hesitate to contact me if I can be of any additional assistance. Lastly, I want to share some advice. If you're asked to write a letter of recommendation, avoid superlatives. Avoid statements like, this student was the smartest student I've ever had. Additionally, avoid generic statements like, this student was nice. A lot of people are nice. You want to be more specific and include examples. To conclude, I hope that these tips about writing recommendations and asking for recommendations are useful. I suggest that if you're asked to write a letter of recommendation, that you ask for help from experienced letter writers. From my personal experience with writing letters, I know that this help is very useful.